The May 1st Golden Week holiday on the mainland ended yesterday. During the holiday, 1.1 million visitors came to Hong Kong, an increase of 22% year-on-year. And the number of mainland visitors increased by 20%, non-mainland visitors increase of about 30%. On a single day, the highest number of visitors arrived in Hong Kong on the 2nd of May, 567,000, an increase of 40%. And in the past few days, at various tourist attractions and photo locations, there were many people, and there were huge crowds, and many tourist facilities were very popular, such as the Peak Tram, Ongping 360, tourist buses, and the Magic Wheel, and so on. And then there was much business increase. For example, bars and eateries, they've seen increase in business, and some Lan Kwai Fong bars mentioned that their business went up by 40 to 50%. And then in the retail sector, jewelry, cosmetics, and dried seafood, business increased by 40%. And with the surge in visitor arrivals, various departments made preparations well in advance. They took various measures so that everything went smoothly. Yesterday, there was special traffic arrangement at the east dam of the Plover Cove Reservoir. Yes, there were a large number of visitors, but traffic and transport was well managed. And on TV, you could see there were huge crowds, and visitors were happy. Various industries worked hard. There's a huge workload for both owners and staff, but still they try their best to cater to the needs of visitors. And I thank the different industries and their operators. I also thank the government departments for working long hours. For the Golden Week holiday, there were both visitors and business increase in business volume. And in terms of experience of visitors, we could take stock of the experience and make improvements where necessary. I've asked the Culture, Sports and Tourism Bureau and the various departments to review the experience together with the industries. The Chief Executive leads a working group on festive holiday arrangements. So we will look at various locations with a large number of visitors, and we'll also refer to the experience of visitors and make improvements in various areas. First of all, we will review the use of IT. Now, we will increase the telecommunications network capacity where there is congregation of large number of visitors. And then we will also provide mobile or online appointments for some locations. And then we will bear in mind the latest preference of visitors and their travel patterns. We will consider providing new services so that we could cater to the new preferences of visitors. For example, ecotourism, visitors also like to taste the local food and so on. And then, of course, their preferences will keep changing, so we will work together with the industry to provide new tourism services. And that will help to spread the crowd, and at the same time, we could bear in mind the new tourism mode, and then we could offer more experience and increase the economic benefits. I announced that on Saturday, the 10th of May, I will lead a delegation to visit two countries in Middle East, Qatar and Kuwait. This is my second trip to the Middle East since I took up office. Qatar and Kuwait are two Middle Eastern countries with rapid economic growth. And Qatar, the GDP per capita, it's the highest among the Middle Eastern countries. Is an important aviation hub too. Kuwait is now the chairman of the relevant association and is ranked third in terms of GDP. Its sovereignty fund has one of the highest assets in the world. And Kuwait has also signed various trade agreements with Hong Kong, including avoidance of double taxation and agreements and so on. Now, during the visit, I will meet with leaders of the two countries, and we will strengthen communications and liaison with the governments concerned, and then we will let businesses learn about the policy of the two countries in terms of trade promotion and cooperation. And then we'd like to promote a flow of people between the two places, among the three places. And then we will also explain to them the latest development in Hong Kong, so the businesses there could explore business opportunities in Hong Kong. Now, in the delegation with government officials, I'm also making an unprecedented move. I will lead business representatives from Hong Kong as well as mainland business representatives. There are over 50 representatives joining the delegation. There are some 30 business leaders and professional leaders in Hong Kong, and there were also some 20 mainland entrepreneurs coming from Fujian, Guangdong, and Zhejiang. They cover different trades such as IT, innovation technology, energy, construction, and so on. So together, we will visit the Middle East. There are two reasons why I'm doing that. First of all, I want Hong Kong to play its role as a superconnector, and so we could promote communications among Hong Kong, the mainland, and overseas countries. And so we could give full play to our role as superconnector and super value adder. The second reason is that for mainland enterprises joining the delegation, some come from high-end industries, innovation, technology sector, and so on. So there are also, and from Hong Kong, there are representatives from professional services. That shows that Hong Kong and the mainland complement each other's in terms of their advantages, and we could provide all-round supply chain service. This is my second visit to the Middle East. The Middle East is developing rapidly. It has funds, and then it's keen in diversifying its risk, or divesting its risk. So this is actually the global trend for gravitation towards the East. Now, when I first visited the Middle East, we signed various high-quality cooperation agreements with the countries I visited. And then after that, there's been there have been many exchanges between Hong Kong and between businesses in Hong Kong and the Middle East. For example, one company in Hong Kong provides hydrogen energy buses to the UAE, and then in Saudi Arabia and UAE, a company set up an office there to take orders, and then the Hong Kong as a government also helped the UAR and Ramco to issue bonds and sovereignty bonds. Saudi Arabia, Abu Dhabi, and Dubai exchanges are included in the list of recognized exchanges of the Hong Kong X. So there could be secondary listing as a result. And then there are ETFs too launched here, and the Saudi Arabia Investment Fund signed a memorandum of understanding with the Hong Kong MA. And they will launch together an investment fund of $1 billion to invest in businesses in Hong Kong and the Greater Bay Area. And then there are now 20% more overseas companies setting up offices in Hong Kong. And then Hong Kong will also set up more ETOs apart from the Dubai ETO. In Riyadh, we are actively preparing for the establishment of another ETO there. Now, this time I'm visiting Qatar and Kuwait, and last time I visited Saudi Arabia and UAE, and so they make up 2/3 of the GCC, and they account for about 90% of the total population of Middle East countries. So I and the members of the delegation look forward to the visit. We will be deepening international cooperation, and we want to promote business opportunities. Thank you.
The floor is now open. If you want to ask questions, please raise your hand, and when your name is called, please introduce your organization and ask not more than 2 questions. On the right-hand side, this reporter, good morning, Chief Executive from Now TV. During the Golden Week, many mainland tourists have come to Hong Kong, but many of them have come as special troopers. Instead of staying in hotels, they spent the night in fast food restaurants and they chose camping. Would they bring a lot of economic benefits to Hong Kong? Would you consider charging tourists for using campsites, or would you also allow stalls to be set up at rural areas to generate more income? And the National Security Department have for the first time arrested family members of Ms. Kwok Fung Yi under one of the provisions. Will it set the precedence for more such family members of the involved to be arrested? During the Golden Week, a lot of visitors came to Hong Kong, especially mainland tourists, and I also talked about new ways of traveling, and I believe this new travel pattern will be regularized. As a city of hospitality, Hong Kong must continue to welcome these tourists. If we give tourists the impression that we only welcome a particular type of tourist, then this will undermine our image as a city of hospitality. So I think that we should adapt to the new traveling pattern of mainland tourists. They have some new itineraries, and they also have a new pattern, and that is why at the outset I've asked the Culture, Sports and Tourism Bureau as well as the sector to review the experience and see how we can better adapt to this new pattern. First of all, we should welcome all kinds of tourists, and we should cater for the needs of these different tourists. We should also be hospitable in the sense that we welcome high-end as well as the not-so-high-end tourists. Overall, if we keep this image as a city of hospitality and welcome tourists, it will bring benefits to everybody. And that is why we should be inclusive and we should be caring. We should be hospitable to our tourists so that we build this ambience and make Hong Kong a good city for tourists, which will bring benefits not only to the tourism sector but to the economy in general. Now, I also went abroad as a visitor. It was rather straightforward experience, and I did feel that perhaps I'd spent too much time on shopping. So I think we should cater for the needs of tourists in general. About this national security case, I emphasize that national security offenses are very serious, and we will let the perpetrators feel the full force of the law. So if anyone is in breach of the national security laws, we will make sure that an all-out effort is made. And when we have sufficient evidence, we will go after the perpetrators. And I urge everybody once again not to break the law, especially the national security laws, because we do abide by the laws, and we will also take full enforcement action. The next reporter.
From the South China Morning Post. Firstly, with regards to the Golden Week holiday that had just passed, has the government learned any lessons in handling the sort of scores of mainland tourists visiting Hong Kong? And how would you respond to concerns by some residents over the city's carrying capacity for mainland tourists with the large crowds and the apparent trend of low-budget spenders like those who are spending the night at McDonald's? And with regards to the closure of Alliance Medical Group, how would the government decide to follow up with the group's closure beyond establishing a dedicated team? Would the government consider further consumer protections to safeguard consumers, such as preventing prepayments for some services or introducing cooling off periods? Thank you.
Regarding Golden Week, which just passed us, I'm very glad to say the number of visitors coming to Hong Kong have gone up drastically. It has created a very good atmosphere for Hong Kong, and also it has brought a lot of economic benefits to Hong Kong as well. It also vitalize our service industry. I'm very thankful to all those who were involved in receiving and taking good care of tourists coming from both the mainlands and other parts of the world. Hong Kong has to be a city to welcome tourists, and tourists include all kinds of tourists, because the image of Hong Kong as a city which welcomes tourists is very important. Anything which we do to make any sector of tourists feel that they're not being welcomed, that will be harmful to the overall image of Hong Kong as a tourist city. You can see every player in the industry, in the tourist hotspots, they have all made great efforts to try to welcome the tourists, even though they were all working very hard, and they had all to do a lot of extra things to ensure that tourists' interests were taken care of as much as possible. Yes, there will be high-end travelers, and there will also be non-high-end travelers. But we must look at tourism as a whole, so that every tourist will find the experience in Hong Kong is an enjoyable one, is a welcome one. We will be asking CSTB and related departments to sum up their experiences in this Golden Week, to work with the relevant industries to try to heighten the good feelings of travelers. At the same time, I think we should really gather information about the new traveling patterns of visitors, particularly those from the mainland, because they represent a big chunk of tourists, to know about their new traveling patterns, their new needs, and new routes, so that we can take good care of them. And I think after knowing all these new demands, we can plan new routes, new supporting facilities to allow them to enjoy Hong Kong more. At the same time, we can add in some economic factors so that they enjoy their trips, whether it's high-end or not high-end, At the same time, we can also try to develop economic benefits out of different types of travelers. We have to work together to ensure that Hong Kong is a city that welcomes all tourists. And regarding a company which is suspected to be closed, which offered prepaid vaccination services, the government takes this matter seriously, and that is why we promptly established an interdepartment task force last Friday. And they comprise representatives from Security Bureau, the Commerce and Economic Development Bureau, Hong Kong Customs and Excise Department, the Hong Kong Police, and the Department of Health, as well as the Consumer Council. I have 3 points to make. First, we should pursue their legal accountability and safeguard consumer rights. Both the Customs and the Police will launch investigations under the Trade Description Ordinance and other criminal offenses to hold the responsible people accountable. The Consumer Council will also exercise its authority to safeguard consumer rights. Second, we should provide feasible assistance to the affected individuals. So eligible children will be able to receive the remaining required vaccines free of charge under the Hong Kong Childhood Immunization Program, while ineligible children may receive vaccinations at their own cost. The Department of Health has set up a hotline, email, and WhatsApps to address inquiries and provide professional services and advice. Third, to review whether the current regulatory control is sufficient. Currently, the Private Healthcare Facilities Ordinance regulates the facilities and safety of healthcare services, while prepaid consumption is governed by contracts. The government will examine whether the existing regulations are adequate, particularly for prepaid consumption, and consider various proposals, including the introduction of a statutory cooling-off period, limiting the maximum contract period, and addressing industry operational conditions. The Commerce and Economic Development Bureau will complete the study as soon as possible and submit a report. Thank you.
好，最後提問。
Last question, the female reporter in the last row. I'm from Wenwei Pao. Recently, you've ended your visit program in Zhejiang, and then you are taking mainland business to the Middle East. With this tariff war, what has that to do with the proactive actions of the SAR government? And what did you achieve in this Zhejiang visit, and what do you hope to achieve in your Middle East visit? Now, there were 3 major achievements arising from my Zhejiang visit. First, we have promoted all-round cooperation between Hong Kong and Zhejiang. We have set up the Zhejiang-Hong Kong Cooperation Conference mechanism. We held the first conference, and then we had covered 13 areas and 50 projects. And then we signed four documents covering innovation, technology, housing, economic cooperation, and youth development. And we proactively promoted a platform for continuous collaboration between the two places. We will also set up working groups to cover the different areas of cooperation so that we could promote various collaboration possibilities at greater depth. And then we also set up the Hong Kong and Zhejiang IT cooperation opportunities. I visited various IT projects in Zhejiang. In Hangzhou, the local government arranged made arrangements for me to have exchanges with the 6 little dragons in Hangzhou. I also visited 2 enterprises of the 6 little dragons. One is a robotics company. The other is a company manufacturing prosthetics. I had deep exchanges with the 2 companies. And then thirdly, we had managed to promote investment in Hong Kong by Zhejiang enterprises. There are 12 projects that we promoted covering financial services, INT, and so on. And some companies plan to set up R&D centers or offices in Hong Kong. So half of these projects will be realized within this year. In Hangzhou, when I talked to the representatives of the 6 dragons, one was about IT application scenarios. The government needs to offer assistance in that respect because for different INT enterprises, they need to use various application scenarios to keep improving their products. Now, many INT enterprises may have secured investment, but if they are to develop, then they need to go through various application scenarios for their products so they could meet the needs of different markets. And that's what I've learned from my trip. So my team will be working in this area. And that also has to do with our low altitude economy. So that's why we working hard to develop various application scenarios for low altitude economy, in particular drones. So we'll continue to work with the industry is concerned. And then we want to help INT enterprises to raise funds. So Hong Kong X will be establishing a new INT enterprise help desk sort of, so that they could provide assistance to companies hoping to be listed. So we want the various parties to learn about how the rules apply to their businesses. And then there could be much communication in the early stage. The SFC will also work closely with the Hong Kong X in the process and offer their support. So business could be better prepared, and then the whole application procedure will go smoothly, and then different INT enterprises will be able to get listed in Hong Kong. The SFC and the Hong Kong X will announce the details today. Now, on my visit to the Middle East, Now I'm going to explore cooperation opportunities with the two Middle Eastern countries. And I'm leading a large delegation that includes mainland businesses that gives full play to Hong Kong's role as a super connector and super value adder. So we're going to expand our circle of friends, and then that could also help us to explore more business opportunities, and that will help the development of local businesses as well. And then under one country, two systems, this is the way we could give full play to the value of Hong Kong. We could help the policy of going global and bringing in. And then there are representatives from the business, from the trade and industry sectors, as well as from professional services, and then together with the mainland entrepreneurs is a delegation with a wealth of experience, and then the Hong Kong members and the mainland members will complement each other in their advantages. Hong Kong can provide an all-round supply chain to the world, so that's how we can play our role, and then we can let the market know. In particular, the countries we're visiting in the Middle East will let them know. The Hong Kong SAR and our country together can provide immense opportunities. Middle Eastern countries want to spread out their investment. We also want to seize upon the opportunity of the gravitation towards the east. The Middle Eastern countries want to invest in Hong Kong, so we're trying to open the door wider. We want to welcome them here, and we also want to tell them about the investment opportunities in Hong Kong. And then we want to introduce our network to them so they could, therefore, develop further in Hong Kong and the mainland. Thank you. That's the end of the media session. Thank you.